Hi, everybody. Welcome to Luvafoodie LinkedIn Live Show. I'm your host, Michelle Mazzara, CEO and owner of Luvafoodie Clean Eating Spices and Clean Drinking Iced Teas. I'm very honored today to have a special guest with me, Kathie Armstrong, who is the owner, CEO, and founder of Kathie's Bakery. So please welcome Kathie to the show. Kathie, if you'd like to say hello and sort of introduce yourself, we'll start our Luvafoodie LinkedIn Live show.
Well, it's so nice of you to have me. I'm honored. It's just great to be here. Um, I produce all natural, healthy food products, bakery products that are on a retail scale that are sold in grocery stores and gift shops all over, and on my website as well. And I have a food service side, and I'm just starting a frozen division. Um, the reason I created this is I wanted to provide good food for people who didn't have time or the energy to do it just from scratch. So I'm trying to give them a leg up. And basically, I'm measuring their dry ingredients out of their cupboards and they're adding the wet. Um, I think that good food is very, very important in our life. And it's something that people just don't have time to do. And I'm trying to help them.
Absolutely. And Kathie, I met you maybe 5 years ago in
Mm-hmm.
Women Who Really Cook, which is a
Yeah.
local, for those of you that don't know, it's a great group for women entrepreneurs, specifically women in the food industry. So you could be a chef, you could be a restaurant owner, you could be a food maker like Kathie and myself. It's really a great supportive group. And I met Kathie, and right away I liked her. And I also met her in the Kowalski store. She was doing demos. And at that time, I believe you were doing, so I don't know a lot about you. That's what I love about having guests on my show. I know a little bit, but not everything. I believe you were doing your shortbread cookies.
Yep. Yep.
Now, Kathie, was this the first item that you launched at retail?
It was the first at retail. What was interesting is I had a meeting with the head of the bakery there. I had a 20-minute meeting scheduled and I was there for 3 hours. But I had a bakery in Canada, and
Oh,
then I lived in Canada, and then I married the love of my life, and I'm down here now, which I love. I absolutely love the cities. Um, and I met with Russ Torville, who is the head of all the bakeries at Kowalski's. And when I closed my bakery in Wayzata, I kept getting calls from my customers that they wanted my food. So I
oh,
took so I took the two number one cookies and turned them into a mix. I thought I would try that. And that was in the fall of 2014, I believe, or 15. I'm terrible at remembering stuff like that. And I presented the two cookies to Russ, and he wanted them. But as we sat and chatted and chatted and chatted, he wanted to know what I was known for. And I told him I was known for my breads, which was my biggest sellers in my both of my bakeries. And so ironically, we started a pilot program at White Bear Lake first, and with the French bread.
so
And
what? So you had two bakeries. I did not know that. Were they both in Minnesota?
no one I created we had I had a commercial kitchen in my home, and I
Sure.
baked four different breads in my home and delivered it to four different grocery stores. Three were in Canada, one was in Minnesota in International Falls. I lived on a border town. So
Oh,
I would deliver to a little place called Luca's, and it was a little Italian place in International Falls. So I delivered my bread every day to these four grocery stores. And then when I moved down here, got into repurposing, and we would flip houses, and we love old stuff and we hate anything being wasted. So we incorporated my food into every business that we had. We had 4 or 5 different locations, and that was all about repurposing. But we would sell the food, and then when we opened another location in Wayzata, I wanted to add a bakery, so it became a coffee shop bakery Plus, it was very European because we sold all of the other stuff as well, furniture, anything that I found and fixed and saved. I loved it there, and we were doing very well until the big construction came, where they tore that whole road out right in front of us.
No,
And I had started the bakery on a shoestring, and I couldn't withstand the loss of revenue. So that's why we closed. And that's why I started this. And Kowalski's has built my business.
I
They
know they have.
have, I am so indebted to them. They're wonderful. I can't say enough good about them. They're great people. They help a lot of people. They've helped you. I
Yes,
mean,
they were the first. They were the
mhm,
first retailer to bring in my caramels
yeah, yeah,
7.5 years ago.
yeah. They're wonderful. I mean, they, they keep trying to build my business bigger, like started with one thing and now there's like seven things, and they're just absolutely phenomenal people.
That's
And
fantastic.
yeah.
Well, in your product, I mean, Kowalski's has very high standards, and they
Mhm.
wouldn't bring any, even though they support a lot of local companies, the product has to be top notch.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I really like about your packaging and your ingredients is that it's clean. And that's a big thing for Luvafoodie. No chemicals, no fillers.
Oh no.
Simple, like I'm reading here: wheat flour, powdered sugar, cornstarch.
There's
I mean, it's
three there's three
free.
ingredients. Yeah.
That's it. And so so you do. I want to get in a little bit before we talk about all your other packaging. You do a lot of private label food service. So like for Kowalski's, they make, or you sell them your dough for like your breads and your. What do you do? What
Mixes.
do
Okay, so when Russ and I started, and when I had my bakery, I was the bottle washer, the cook, the baker, the furniture maker. I did everything myself. I had one girl who did the cookies, but I did all the breads and everything myself. And I did it the way my mother taught me, which was 6 loaves at a time by hand in a bowl. So if I needed to do 36 loaves, I did 6 bowls and did 6 at a time. You know what I'm saying?
you?
So when I presented to Kowalski's, to Russ, I wanted it done that way. Well, as you know, they don't do that nobody really does that anymore. They do it through their one main beautiful kitchen that they make everything, and then they send it out to all their different stores, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we started the pilot, we started at White Bear Lake with a bowl and 6 loaves of bread on a Friday night.
Mm.
And then we did that for a month, and then then the customers liked it, and then it was like they wanted it Saturday, and then they wanted it Sunday, and so now it has just grown into all of the stores. But my products are the only products that are made in each and every bakery on site. So if you go buy my product that they're making,
Which
they're
is what? What are the products? You
there's
name
French,
them like specifically, like the
sure,
breads, flavors.
there's French bread, and they're making it by hand, 6 loaves at a time. I mean, they're making it like your mother made or your grandmother, and you know that it's my bread because it's wrapped in parchment and tied with string. So they do my cracked wheat bread, and same wrapped in the parchment. And I'm going to do a little segue here. You know that everything has turned upside down with COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and labor has gotten so difficult. I mean, it's just for everybody.
Right.
It's like where'd everybody go? So they were making my baking powder biscuits, and they were making many by hand every day, and they had to stop that because they didn't have the labor to do it, and that just happened. um, but they make the French bread they are now doing as well. They do a garlic butter, like a garlic butter where it's in tin foil, but it's made out of the French bread. You take it and you bake it, heat it up, and they do a garlic French with cheese, butter, garlic, and cheese. They do what they call the ugly dough. It's a pizza dough that's in a bag that's by the bakery, in the bakery case. And what that is, it's the dough with yeast, so it keeps changing, like it will raise and then it falls, but it gets almost a sour taste. So you take that bag home and you throw flour on your counter and you roll it out, and it's fabulous from scratch pizza dough. They sell tons of that too. Um, they are now making in their factory, like their big kitchen at Shoreview, they're making the shortbread cookies, and they're making the oatmeal shortbread cookies, and they also do different flavors, like they'll do the lemon shortbread, and they do them 20, there's 21 little cookies in a plastic container that you buy there. And again, there's 4 ingredients in that cookie. So yeah, so it's great. Yes.
Oatmeal. So you have 4 products at retail. You've got the signature shortbread cookie mix.
Yep.
You've
The
got
oatmeal,
oatmeal shortbread cookie mix, and you can add chocolate chips to this if you want.
whatever you want.
Yep. You've got a new scone scratch mix, and you can make these savory if you want. You can add cheeses, you can add garlic, you can add onions,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got a muffin scratch mix. So these are the 4 core packages at retail.
But at Kowalski's and other places, they're under their name. It's their private label. But yes, those are the 4. But they have a brand new one. They have a brownie mix.
Oh.
And it's fabulous. Yeah.
Do you have that in a ready to go?
I don't even have that in mind. No,
but it's your recipe.
And I will have it, but I just don't have it yet. Yeah.
So Kathie, let's talk a little bit. So I have a lot of followers on LinkedIn. I've got almost 20,000, and a lot of them are in the grocery industry. And I know what you've done in Minnesota. I don't know what you've done outside. So say I'm one of my customers, I'm just going to use them. They're called Molly Stones. They're in Northern California, and they're like a Kowalski's. They're upscale, privately owned. They've got like 9 stores like Kowalski's. What if somebody like a Molly Stones was watching this and they said, wow, we want to get her retail packaged goods. So I'm going to ask you a few retail questions.
Sure.
And then I'm going to go flip-flop back to food service. Do you have a distributor?
Yep.
Who is your distributor?
Well, I have a food broker company, Mid America Marketing. They're fabulous, which I have 2 distributors with. One is for my retail, one is for the bakery side, the food service side. And they take care of all of that.
And that's the name of the company, Mid
America Marketing.
Where are they based?
They're right here in the cities. They're right Eden Prairie. They're right off of 169 and Valley View Road.
Can they ship to any retailer, any grocer in the country?
Yeah.
I might have to look them up. And so they don't have the astronomical fees like all the other distributors, and the fixed fees, and the
they find the distributors. So I have a distributor that now accommodates where Coburn's goes. You know what I mean? It's like as I grow, then they find what I need. So they don't do the shipping, but they find the people that need to take care of what my needs are. So as it grows, then it expands. Do you understand?
Sort of. So do you have a national distributor like UNFI or KB?
Not yet. I'm not there yet.
Do you want to be there?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I just got accepted into one of those.
Good girl.
I wasn't going to tell anyone.
Good girl.
Good girl. But, as a woman-owned business, and this is the problem that I have, and I don't know a lot about your structure, is that, so I spent 25 years in CPG. I worked for large companies. The last one was Sara Lee. My 2 accountants were Target and Walmart. So we had funds. We had like a marketing fund, and we had, all these funds that it was a huge corporation, right? Now I'm just me. So now I'm a huge national distributor wants me, and there's all these fixed fees that are associated with doing business with a large distributor.
It's huge.
And I don't have any investors. So how do I scale to that level without getting like a few really big investors or an investment firm? And I don't
personally, I think you got to walk it. You got to walk it. You got to, every step you learn, and every step, it's kind of like you you get an order, you fill it, they pay you, you pay your people. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like.
the other way around, because I got to be honest with you. I'm in one of the distributors, Lomar, which is Hy-Vee's employee-owned distributor.
Okay.
And often what happens, and I'm sure you know this too, is with a lot of your customers, my co-packer needs to be paid within a certain terms.
Yeah.
These individual stores that we ship individually, or if the product isn't received, say it's sitting on a trailer, the large customer can't pay you until they've received it. So there's a cash flow problem often, or a crunch, because you got to pay your co-packer. I mean, my co-packer, period. They have, they're like, Michelle, your terms are 30 days. There's not this stretch fund, and they don't know if I'm not getting paid from A, B, C, or D. All they know is that your terms are 30 days.
Yeah.
So when you said to me, well, you pay them and then you pay your co-packer. No, it's actually you pay your co-packer and then I get paid down the road. And then maybe I pay myself and maybe I don't, because I have somebody that manages the website. I've got fixed fees.
So it's astronomical.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, and I'm at the point where 7.5 years, this is a defining moment. I mean, it's like time to bring people on. No, how are you structured? Do you own it 100%? Yes. Do you have investors?
No. I own it 100%.
Yeah. Okay. Just
the difference is because I'm in 3 different arenas. Well, I'm in 2 actually, and the third one's just coming on board. The freezer is they help each other out. Do you understand? Yes. So it's the retail is way more costly because of the packaging, because you have to work harder for retail where you get less money than you do. You know what I mean? So it's I've been very fortunate to have 2 arenas.
Well, and actually I can relate to that because some of my customers do buy bulk and they provide them the ingredient labels. And yes, it's a lot cheaper for me to ship a 10-pound pound of spices versus a spice tin, because there's not as much labor and there's not the cost of goods of the tin and the label. So yes, you probably make your margin, I would guess, is higher when you're doing food service versus
because you have less expense.
Right, less expense. You don't have all this, you know, and you have a co-packer, so you have, when you come out with a new item, you have to decide, okay, how many labels of this do I want to ship to my co-packer before I can even
That's why the brownie isn't out yet.
I get it.
It just came out in the fall, and I'm gonna, like, it costs a lot of money to put out a new product. It costs a fortune.
And people don't, I mean, unless you're in our space, and that's what I like about our group, our Women Who Really Cook group, is that we all know what we're going through, and it's so tough. And it's so empowering to be with other women when we get together and hear our stories, because we're all in this together. And, you know, some of us are moving maybe in a little faster direction or a different direction, but the bottom line is we all started at the same point, and it's all difficult. It's very, and nobody realizes, unless you're an entrepreneur and doing this all by yourself, how challenging this really is.
See, so how it all began, and then when I worked for Kowalski's for 4 years, strictly, like I was there in every kitchen working with all the all the people. I know them all. I mean, I was there training, I was there baking, I was there sampling. I wanted to make sure that this worked. And I made sure it worked. Okay.
Right.
So then I had to decide whether or not I wanted to do my own brand. My brand hasn't been around as long as I've been with Kowalski's. Do you understand?
Oh, I know, Kathie. You just recently came out with the retail package.
Just before COVID.
I know.
Yeah. So it just kicked me, you know. And I knew it took me 2 years to make the decision whether I was going to do it or not, because I think
it's a great decision.
I hope so.
I do, because, well, it depends what your goal is. If you want to be known, and that's my goal, is to, as a national brand, and I'm getting there. You can't be known as a private label. I mean, you can tell me, okay, if I go buy that French bread at Kowalski's, it's yours, but that doesn't mean anything to 99% of the population.
No.
So
but the reason I did it is because I don't know if you know this, but I've willed my company has already willed to a charity called CherryAvenue.org.
No.
And this is a young couple here in the cities in Orono who are. I've known this young woman for years, and they're fabulous people. Fabulous. They actually met on mission when they were young at this in Guatemala at this orphanage, and they fell in love, and they have continued to support this orphanage their whole time being together. Anyway, long story short, they created a 501 a few years ago, and I know these people. Like, I know them. I know their heart. I know they love God. I know that every cent goes to these kids. So there's this orphanage there that they take in HIV children, and the food, but not only that, they have a home company, like a home building on Minnetonka. And every time they build a home and sell it, they build a home for the poor in Guatemala. And I believe they've built 133 homes, last count. They've built a school. They're building a training center. They're doing so much good work there. Anyway, I have willed my whole company to them so that we have an agreement that when I die, they will then keep it going, and everything will go to the children and to the poor in Guatemala. And the reason I'm doing this is because I know them, and I know what they're doing, and I know the kids are getting every penny. So that's why I did the branding, was because I do want to build this company for these kids. And Paul Newman was my inspiration. And I thought, well, what can I do? And I just, like, my children can take care of themselves. Do you know what I mean? These kids can't. So
That's very inspiring. That's very heartwarming. It's very charitable, Kathie. I mean,
well, it's like people say to me, that's so good. And I go, well, when I'm dead, I don't need the money. It's like.
And your children they don't want to be involved in the business. I know you've got a daughter. I don't know how many other kids you have, but so then
I have three kids, and they're up in Canada. And they're totally on board with me giving this company to the charity. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about retail. If I'm watching the show and I'm a retailer out, so first of all, I've been to your website many times. You can buy your products on kathiesbakery.com. Are you on Amazon or other?
No.
You're not. Do you want to be?
Not sure.
Are you on Fair or Mabel?
Yes, I'm on Fair, and I'm on Range Me.
Okay, Range Me though is not as well. Yeah, I guess they're starting to sell now. I don't know how. I haven't done that. Okay, you might want to look at Mabel too. It's like Fair. They take less percentage.
Okay.
So you're not sure about Amazon. Are you on Walmart.com or any other?
No.
So mostly just most of your online sales then go directly to your website.
I want to build my site. And the reason I want to build my site is I like hands-on. Like, a woman didn't get an order, I know she did not get that order, and I'm on top of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be personally involved in my customers. I want to take care of them.
So you've got retail, you've got distributors. So if I'm again, I'm going to go back. If I'm an account out east or out west, and I want to bring in this product, not the food, not the frozen or the fresh stuff, what's the best way to contact you?
I have two distributors. I have one for that division right now. That's on a smaller scale. And for right now, contact me and I take care of it. So it's right through the website. Just contact me and I'll take care of it. Whoever wants it will get it.
So you've got wholesale pricing and you've got distributor pricing.
Sure. Yeah.
I just say this because I have so many people that are in the grocery industry that are followers and are connections that I want to make it. It might sound redundant, but I want to make it clear.
Oh, no, I'm happy you're asking.
Yeah, how they can get your product. Now, you also mentioned you're going into the frozen space. Can you elaborate a little bit on that and what products are involved in that?
I've been, my French bread is also my pizza dough. Okay. So there is a fabulous pizza farm out in Princeton called Alpha and Omega.
Okay.
They do a fabulous business, and they're only open seasonally, and they have a beautiful wood brick, oven,
Mm-hmm.
and they have goats and they have llamas, they have all kinds of stuff, and they do events, but every Thursday night they're open to the public. And they have been purchasing my pizza balls for 2 years. Okay. Um, I also have a sugar cookie that is just phenomenal. That is a European sugar cookie that's frozen. And I am very excited. I'm working with a company out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, on making my baking powder biscuits that are going to be frozen pucks, so the bakeries can buy them and then just thaw them out and cook them. And I just got the final sample on my cinnamon buns, which were my number one in my bakery. They're phenomenal, and they're all natural. Like, all my product, no matter which division you're in, is of the same quality, you know.
So, Kathie, the frozen, am I understanding you right that that is going to be for food service,
Yes,
not
only,
retail? Not
not
so I can't
retail.
go into a
No,
grocery store and buy Kathie's frozen sweet roll
but there are stores that are buying it and putting it into retail in their store. Do you understand?
under their name, private
Yeah,
label.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, and you're okay with that? You like
Oh, I'm all, yeah, yes.
okay. Tina from Tex
Yep,
Rex Cookies,
yep,
that she just took her cookies frozen. Did you know that?
yep. She's at Kowalski's, I believe, isn't she?
She may be, you mean in the frozen section?
Yeah,
She
I'm
may
pretty.
be, I don't know. I just know that she worked with Michael's Foods. Michael's Foods is in Minnesota, and I don't know any of the details, but so that's not something you don't want to have your shortbread cookies frozen under your name at this point.
Could I would actually rather have them baked and sold baked, but it's everything you do takes time, right? And it takes to
Money.
implement, and it takes money. Gregory's Foods is my frozen division here in the city, and they're phenomenal. Um, I've been so blessed to work with wonderful, wonderful people. Um, I find that this industry has been very kind and very good to me. And in turn, I am here to help anybody else who needs help too. Like,
Yeah.
anyone needs help, I want to help them.
Yep, I am too. And that's what one of the reasons I started LinkedIn Live is because I thought, I know so many people and so many entrepreneurs and so many
Yeah.
inspiring people. And I want to have that avenue to share your story, other people's story, not just, there's so many talk shows and so many things out there where all you hear is about famous people. What about all of us that are just average, everyday people with great
Oh,
products and inspiring products? And
we all
maybe
need help.
right. We all need help. And maybe
Yeah.
somebody watching, one of my shows is going to pick the phone up or they call you or one of my, guests and say, hey, I want that product.
Do
Or
you know
send
what's
me a sample.
interesting? You had Dean Packham.
Yep.
I can never say his name properly.
Packingham.
But you know what's interesting? We've never met. Dean and I have never met. I feel like he's one of my dear friends. We talk all the time. I have a new cookbook.
Oh, do you want to tell us about it? Let's plug it.
Okay. So here's my new cookbook.
And I have to just say something. I apologize for everybody who's watching because for some reason I'm not seeing the comment stream. StreamYard is still new to me, so I apologize, everybody, why I can't see your questions. I don't know, but I'll have to figure it out because we are still live. But okay, tell us about the cookbook.
So anyway, the cookbook, the reason I did the cookbook is when I would sample, all my products are basic. So then I'm trying to get people to be creative and make it their own way. They're delicious, basic, but
Yep.
if you want to add something to them to change it, all the better. So
Right.
whenever I sampled, I bring something different. They want to know the recipes. They want to know this. So I thought I'm going to do a cookbook. So there are 50 different recipes in here that are made from one of the mixes.
We can't see it, Kathie. Can you hold it to the
So
camera?
like this
Okay.
this is a French silk pie
Nice.
that's made, the crust is made out of the oatmeal shortbread. Okay. There is a chocolate cake made out of the muffin mix. That there isn't anything that you can't do pretty much out of these mixes. And it just makes it easier. But anyway, so for Dean, I called him and I said, I want to help you. And I want to put would you mind if I made a recipe out of your mix and put it on? So I made a chocolate cocoa shortbread cookie, and I have his product. Let's see if I can find it.
Oh, we did just hear a question. I guess I do have the questions. This is from Cindy Sorensen. Hi, Cindy. She's my guest next week.
Cool.
Hi, Cindy. She says, I think I need to head to the website and order some cookies. Her cookies are really good. And you know what, Kathie, I have to tell you something. I told my mom knows you. She met
She's
you.
She's such a doll. Yeah.
And I told her, that you sent me samples for the show. And she's like, oh, good. You're going to bring them to my house, aren't you? I said, yes, Mom, I'm giving you these samples. So
that
she will be making them for me because I don't have time. But she was pretty excited.
But interestingly.
So wait, you made cocoa cookies?
Yeah, I made cocoa cookies. And here's the, so I put their product.
Nice.
And figured out a recipe that I used with my mix and their mix so I could promote him. You know what I mean? And we have never officially met, but I just see how hard they're working. I just want to help them. And
it's funny. I met Dean a couple weeks ago for the first time. I feel the same way you do about him. He's a great follower. His story's very cool about his kids who started the cocoa, and he got into Hy-Vee's distribution center this summer, Lomar. Wonderful. And so we were at this big show a couple weeks ago in Des Moines, and we met for the first time and became instant friends. I'm like, Dean, we're friends for life. And he texts me like, friends text you, right? And he texted me just the other day something. I'm like, oh, hi, Dean. He's on vacation and I was away for a few days. So, but yes, isn't it great when you make that connection?
I know.
And that's what I felt about you. I mean, I should have other people on the show from Women Who Really Cook, but right away I said to you, like before I even started this, Kathie, do you want to be a guest?
I was
and
on.
You were like the first person that I wanted on from Women Who Really Cook.
Thank you.
Well, your product is really, really good. I have to tell everybody, it's clean, it's easy. All you need is eggs, oil, and milk for most of these.
Butter.
Butter.
Just butter.
And you know what? So when I did the WCCO show December, we used your shortbread cookie mix.
Cool.
For the hot chocolate board that I did.
Great.
So Kathie, we're kind of getting to the 30-minute sweet spot, and I want to know, so your cookbook is available on your website.
Yep.
I know that.
Yep.
What else do you want to let our viewers know, our followers on LinkedIn? Anything else about you, your company? What's next for Kathie? What should we be doing to support you?
Just, I want to help people get back in the kitchen. I want to help them to realize they don't have to do everything perfect. You see some of these cookbooks and some of these shows and stuff, and everything's so perfect. In my cookbook, I did it exactly how I used to do when I started cooking. All the cakes are in a 13x9. Some of them are broken. Some of the cookies are broken. It's not about perfection. Or presentation, or it's about enjoying it and that the food's good. I think for me, it's got to be really delicious. And,
absolutely.
So I'm trying to help women who don't, and men, forgive me, that don't have a lot of time to, it's like, I got a mix, I can do this. Just add a little butter. Like my shortbread cookies from start to finish, from the bag to the oven are less than 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, they're super. Even I'm not a baker, but these are easy.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
Everyone should go to your website and order these, because you know what? Valentine's Day is next week. And how fun to make these. You could roll them out and make them in heart shape. I know. And
I just did a video.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Hey, do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. Yeah.
What's it called?
I don't know. I think it's Kathie's Bakery. What does that tell you
Well,
about me?
people should follow you on it.
I think it's Kathie's Bakery.
Kathie's Bakery. Okay, and I did like we're friends on Facebook, and I did see your video for the first time last week, and I don't know if this is something new you're doing, but I thought, hey, that's a good idea. I'm glad she's.
I'm going to be doing it. Yeah,
it's a great idea, Kathie. Go for it, because that's, especially with baking, a lot of people are intimidating. Well, any kind of cooking, they love videos because everybody.
I'm trying to get people to not be intimidated to cook or bake. Just like I'm making my stuff as easy as possible.
Easy and clean.
And delicious.
Clean and delicious.
And delicious, yeah.
And delicious. Well, I'm going to kind of wrap things up here. It has been a pleasure to have you. I hope to see you at one of our meetings in the near future.
Yep.
Hopefully I know there's something coming up. I'm not sure the date, if I can make it or not. And then, well, like, you're my friend, so anytime you need anything, a shout out, just call me.
I agree. And to the viewers, I'm happy to help anybody. Truly, I am. Like, I don't believe that we should be secretive, or if we can help someone, we should help them. So if someone has questions, if they're thinking about doing anything or whatever, I'm here.
That's great. That's great. And I feel the same way. There's any sharing is so empowering, and learning. We can all learn from each other.
Absolutely.
There's not one day that I don't learn something. And if it is, it hasn't been a good day, because there's so much for me to learn.
And the one thing I don't understand is when people don't want to share or don't want to tell stuff. And it's like, there's enough for all of us. Yep. I mean, the pie just gets bigger. It doesn't take anything away.
Nope. And when you give, receive.
Well, that even makes me feel like I'm being selfish just by trying to be nice to somebody. But it's like, it doesn't take away from us to help others.
No.
It just doesn't.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. No. And as entrepreneurs, like, I know when Dean first got into Lomar, he was asking me some questions, and I was giving him, because you have to teach yourself everything when you're an
entrepreneur. Sure. Oh, yeah.
There's no IT person for me. There's nobody to do that setup for him. I have to do it all. And so when somebody gets stuck and like, how do I do that? I'm like, well, this is how I figured it out. And, if I can help ease the transition in something like a setup form or another website to learn, I'm all there.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Everybody, buy Kathie's products. I would not have anyone on my show, just so everybody knows, who, A, I don't use their product, B, I don't believe in, and C, it's just a good person. So Kathie meets all those things.
Thanks, Eddie.
You do. So a shout out to next week. First, this week, anyone who's watching that's in the Twin Cities, I will be doing a Heart Healthy Valentine's Day show on WCCO this Wednesday mid-morning at Channel 4 around 9:30, and it's going to be a 4-course meal that you can make for your sweetheart, for yourself, for your family for the next Valentine's Day, and I'll be doing it this Wednesday, February 9th. And then next week is Valentine's Day, and I have a really special guest, and she's watching right now. Her name is Cindy Sorensen. She's actually the founder of the grocery group, and I don't know a lot about the grocery group, but I'm going to find out next week. And she is a brain aneurysm survivor, and also a national spokesperson for American Heart. I'm going to let her tell her story about her heart journey. Her husband had heart issues too, and so together the two of them actually went to Washington when I was a brand ambassador 5 years ago, and spoke on behalf of American Heart Association. So I thought, what better way on Valentine's Day to have Cindy as my guest to share her story. It's also National Heart Month. And so for all the survivors out there, everybody, she's a woman. We both go red. We support the American Red campaign. And I'm super excited. So join us next week on Luvafoodie LinkedIn Live with Cindy Sorensen. And any questions for any of us, just write it in the comments. We will get back to you. And the show is all about helping, inspiring entrepreneurs, not just people in the food space. Probably I tend to a little bit more in the food space because that's where I'm at. But we are also going to have other inspiring and encouraging people on. So thank you, everybody. And I will see you all next week. Thank you, Kathie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.